Hello students, welcome to the first part of our chapter electric capacitance. In this chapter we are going to discuss about an important electrical device used with the various electrical and electronic appliances, that is the capacitor, which is also known as the condenser. You might have seen that with most of the fans motors there is a small cylindrical shaped body is connected to the motor. That small cylindrical shaped body that is connected to the motor, we call it as the condenser or electric capacitor. The function of the electric capacitor is to store certain quantity of charge inside it, so it acts as a charge storing device. But depending upon the type of the circuit in which it is used, it has multiple purposes in the respective electrical circuits. For example, it is used in various devices and appliances like fan motors, radio, TV, induction motors, flashlights and adapters. In fan motors or in the induction motors, the main function of the capacitor is to provide a phase difference between the current and the voltage so that a proper speed of the motor can be maintained. In the radio or the TV circuits, it is not only used as a filter circuit in the filter circuits, but it is also used for the tuning of a particular channel in the radio or the TV tuning circuits. In the flashlights available with the most of the cameras and also in the mobile cameras, various capacitors are attached together and they store huge amount of electrical charge, that is electrical energy. Just on the press of the camera button, the whole of the electrical energy of all those capacitors is immediately delivered to the flashlight, due to which it is able to produce a high intensity and bright light. It is also used inside our adapters, used for charging mobiles or used for charging the battery of the laptops. There it is used for the filtration so that AC can be converted properly into DC. So depending upon the type of the circuits, the capacitor has various uses. Today we are going to discuss some basic aspects of the capacitors. So capacitor is a charge storing device. In fact, every object which we encounter in our day-to-day life has some ability to store some amount of electrical charge. That means every object acts as a capacitor. Even our own body acts as a capacitor. Almost all of us are using the touch screen mobile phones, which are basically known as capacitive touch screen mobile phones. Why they are called as capacitive touch screen mobile phone? Because our body is a good conductor of electricity. So whenever we bring our finger quite close and touch with the screen of the mobile, it forms a capacitor, and on the touch of the finger with the screen of the mobile, the electrical capacitance of the circuit changes, which generates an electrical signal due to which the screen software is able to perform a particular function. So how much electrical charge can be stored inside a conductor or any object? That is indicated in terms of a physical quantity known as electrical capacitance or simple capacitance. How much charge a body can store? That depends upon certain aspects of the body. Just like a 2-liter can of oil can store 2-liter oil inside it. If we try to push extra oil into it, it will be immediately leaked away. Same is the behavior of the device capacitor. Whenever charge is given to an insulator or a conductor, its electrical potential rises. From our previous chapter, electrical potential, we know that any charge given to a body, the potential of that body rises. That means more the charge, more is the potential. So charge is directly proportional to the potential of that body. So if we convert that proportionality into equality, we get equation Q equal to CV, where C is a constant of proportionality, which is known as the capacitance of the conductor. Or from the same equation we can write C is equal to Q by V. That is, electrical capacitance of a conductor is the ratio of the charge stored in it divided by the potential that is developed due to that charge. So in this case, if we make that V is equal to 1 unit, that is electrical potential is equal to 1 unit, then C becomes equal to Q. So C numerically represents the charge stored inside the conductor so that its potential rises by 1 unit. Greater the charge stored on the conductor, greater will be the potential. So we can define electrical capacitance of a conductor as the charge required to increase the potential of the conductor by a unit amount. It is the charge required to increase the potential of the conductor by the unit amount. Important point. The capacitance of a conductor depends upon three important factors. First, size and the shape of the conductor. Second, nature or permittivity of the surrounding medium. Third, presence of the other conductors close to the conductor behaving as a capacitor. Capacitance of a conductor does not depend upon nature of the material used for storing the charge, and second, amount of the charge on the conductor. So C does not depend upon Q. C does not depend upon V. Why? Because Q and V are there proportional to each other. So any change in Q will bring an equal change in V. So the ratio of Q and V, which gives us C, it will always remain same. So that's why C depends upon size and the shape of the conductor, nature of the medium which is surrounding the body, and the presence of the other conductors. Next, its unit. C is equal to Q by V. In SI unit, charge is 1 coulomb. SI unit of potential is 1 volt. So the SI unit of the capacitance is 1 coulomb per volt, which is known as 1 farad, indicated by letter capital F. So the capacitance of a conductor is said to be 1 farad if its potential increases by 1 volt on giving it a charge of 1 coulomb. 1 farad of capacitor is very huge value of the capacitance. We cannot make a capacitor in our day-to-day life which has a capacity of 1 farad. So the smaller units used for the measurement of the capacity are 1 millifarad, 1 microfarad, 1 nanofarad, 1 picofarad, and etc. Dimensions of this quantity. We know that C is equal to Q by V and potential is work done per unit charge. So this makes equation equal to Q square over W. So if we substitute the dimensions of charge and work done, we get the dimensions of the capacitance, which is M-1, L-2, T4 and A2. Finding expression for the capacitance of a capacitor. We know that C is equal to Q over V. So whenever we are to find out the capacitance of any object or a conductor, we just need to find out the potential present on the capacitor, divide the charge on the capacitor by the potential, we get the value of electrical capacitance. Next, capacitance of an isolated spherical conductor. So if we have a spherical conductor, doesn't matter it is hollow or solid in nature, but it is isolated from all other bodies so that its capacitance is not affected. We want to find out its capacitance. Suppose we have this spherical conductor of radius r on which charge Q is distributed uniformly all around its surface. On giving a charge Q to it, the potential of the conductor rises from 0 to V. So in this case, this potential on the conductor is given by V equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. This is the same expression which we have used also for potential of a single point charge, because in this case we can consider that whole of the charge on the surface of the conductor is actually concentrated at its center. So the potential on the conductor is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. So then capacitance of the capacitor will be, this conductor will be C equal to Q by V, which is equal to Q over 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. Q and Q get cancelled, we get C equal to 4 pi epsilon naught R. So this is the expression for the capacitance of a isolated spherical conductor, which indicates that capacitance of this spherical conductor is directly proportional to its radius, that is the size of the conductor. So greater the radius of the conductor, greater will be the capacitance. Now we try to answer why 1 farad capacitor is not possible. We know that C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught R, and we want to prove that a capacitor cannot be built which can have a capacitance of 1 farad. So in order to do that, we use the equation C equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught R. We want to make a capacitance of 1 farad. 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught is already a constant, 9 into 10 to the power 9. So if we substitute both these values in the equation, we get 1 equal to 1 over 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 into R. So we try to find out the radius of that conductor, which should behave as a capacitor having capacitance 1 farad. So it comes out to be 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 meter. That is 9 into 10 raised to the power 6 kilometer. That is 9 lakh kilometer. So if we want to build up a capacitor having capacitance of 1 farad, that spherical conductor should have radius of 9 lakh kilometer, whereas radius of Earth is only 6400 kilometer. So because this much large size spherical conductor cannot be built, so we cannot have a capacity of 1 farad. That's why the capacitors used in our electrical circuits, their capacitance is measured in terms of milli, micro or nano or picofarads. Next, an isolated conductor has a very small capacitance. There are some problems associated while storing the charge on a conductor, due to which its capacitance or charge storing ability is very small. Whenever any conductor holds a large amount of the charge, its potential becomes also very high. When its potential becomes very large, the electrical field present around the conductor also becomes very large in magnitude. When this electrical field increases, this strong electrical field around the conductor applies a huge electrical forces on the molecules or atoms of the surrounding air, due to which the ionization of the air molecules start taking place. And this happens especially around the edges of the conductor. That is, if we use a metal body, suppose a scale-shaped metal body, and we transfer some amount of charge to it, its potential is going to rise. When its potential will rise, the electrical field around the conductor will also increase, but that electrical field will be more in magnitude, huge in magnitude around these sharp edges or the corners of the conductor, due to which the electrical force applied by this strong electrical field onto the air molecules which are present around these corners or sharp edges of the conductor, it will be so much large that it is going to break apart the molecule. It will dissociate into anion and cation, that is breakdown of the air will take place. And as soon as this breakdown of air occurs around these sharp edges of the conductor, the charge on the conductor immediately gets leaked away. Initially this leakage is not possible because we know that air contains molecules which are neutral in nature, so charge cannot flow. But as soon as the breakdown of the air around the edges start taking place, those ionized air molecules, which are actually positive and negative charges around the corners or edges of the conductor, they provide a conducting path with the help of which charge present on this conductor, it starts leaking away from the conductor. So when a conductor is given any amount of charge, its potential rises, and we cannot arbitrarily go on increasing the amount of the charge on the conductor because of this property of breakdown of air which takes place, which is present around the sharp edges or the corners of the conductor. This leakage of the charge occurs due to an important effect which is known as the corona effect, or it is, and the discharging of the conductor or the leakage of the charge from the conductor, we call it as the corona discharge. For air to get breakdown, amount of potential difference that should be there on the conductor, it is of the order of 3 into 10 to the power 6 volt per meter, or it is equivalent to 3 kilovolt per millimeter. That means if we have two electrodes, electrode 1 and electrode 2, one connected to positive, another connected to negative terminal of battery, such that the distance between two electrode is 1 millimeter, then 3000 volt of potential difference is required for the breakdown of air to take place, which is very huge value of the breakdown voltage of the air. So this breaking down of the air puts up a limit how much charge can be stored inside a conductor. So any conductor which has ability to store charge has also small capacitance. So how can we increase this capacitance of the conductor so that without breaking down of the air, any desired amount of the charge can be transferred to it? The answer to that is the parallel plate capacitor. How we are able to increase the capacitance of a conductor without this problem of breaking down of the air around the conductor? We can get that idea when we study the principle of the capacitor. Now, what is the basic principle of the capacitor? Suppose we have a metal plate A which is charged uniformly. If we go on transferring the charge, a stage will be reached at which the charge will start leaking away. Due to the problem of the air breakdown, we cannot further transfer the charge, so that will be, the capacitance will be a small in magnitude. Now if we want to increase the capacitance, what we do, we place another similar metal plate of same dimensions but which is neutral in nature quite close to it. So here we have a metal plate A which is uniformly charged. We have placed another equivalent metal plate B at a small distance away from it. As soon as it will be placed over near to plate A, due to induction, negative charge will appear onto the inner side of the plate A, the side of the plate which is facing the plate A, while the induced positive charge will appear on the opposite side of the plate B which is away from the plate A. As soon as these induced charges are created onto the metal plate A, the potential of the plate A changes. We know that potential is a scalar quantity, and potential at any point is equal to the scalar sum of the potential due to the individual charges. So when this induced negative charge is there, its potential will be negative in nature. If this induced positive charge, potential will be positive in nature. So this negative charge tries to decrease the potential of the plate A, while this induced positive charge tries to increase the potential of the plate A, because the net potential of the plate A will be potential due to its own charge plus potential due to this induced negative charge plus potential due to this induced positive charge. So in this case, negative induced charge tries to decrease the potential, positive induced charge tries to increase the potential, but overall there is a slight reduction in the potential of the plate A. Reason: although induced negative and positive charge both are equal in amount, but this negative charge is much more closer to the plate A. So because we know that potential is inversely proportional to the distance, so the negative charge is able to cause reduction of the plate A as compared to what potential can be increased by this induced positive charge. So there is overall reduction in the potential, but this reduction in the potential is very small in magnitude, due to which when potential decreases, the electrical field around the plate A also decreases, so breakdown will stop. So we can further transfer more amount of the charge to the plate A, thereby increasing its charge storing ability, that is the capacitance of this metal plate A. But because reduction in potential is very small, increase in capacitance will also be very small. If we want to increase the capacitance by huge amount, what we do, we ground the metal outer face of the metal plate B so that this whole positive charge gets leaked away from it. So as soon as the outer side of the plate B is grounded, few electrons from the ground flow into this face of the plate B, and they neutralize all of the induced positive charge present on the outer face of the plate B, due to which only negative charge is left on the plate B, and situation looks like this. In this case, plate B is holding only negative charge, so there is a no induced positive charge, so there is no factor on the plate B which is going to increase the potential of plate A. Only reduction in potential of plate A will be there, and this reduction will be very large in magnitude. When potential of plate A decreases by very large in magnitude, electrical field around plate A will also be reduced, due to which a huge amount of charge needs to be transferred to the plate A so that its potential can be further increased or raised to that value at which breakdown may occur. Thus, when a grounded neutral metal plate is placed close to a charged metal plate A, this metal plate B is able to increase the overall capacitance of this body. This combination or this arrangement of the two metal plates present parallel to each other but not touching each other, one charged and one grounded, forms a capacitor which is known as the parallel plate capacitor. And this parallel plate capacitor is widely used in the electrical circuits. The circuit symbol for the parallel plate capacitor is this. These are the electrical contacts, these are the two metal plates. There is another symbol which is used for the parallel plate capacitor, which is this one. If the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor is fixed in value, then this is the symbol, but if we can vary the capacitance of the capacitor, then this symbol is used for a variable capacitor. Thank you.